This is it. We got our Texas House District 87. All of our candidates will go ahead and come up here. Well, this is going to be fun. Alright, let's get started. So these are our three candidates. We are missing one. So basically the way that this is going to go, y'all are going to have 1 minute for your intro, okay? And we're going to do some group questions. Y'all are going to have 1 minute for that. We're going to have individual. Y'all have 3 minutes for that, okay? And then we'll do our closing statement, okay? Alright, we're going to start in ballot order. Richard Beyea, go ahead, give your intro.
Yes, thank you for everybody for showing up tonight. Happy to be here. It's good to see a good crowd. I am being referred to as the man from Perryton. I am. Judy and I are coming back to Amarillo quite a bit, but I've found out where the autopilot button is in the car. I'm a businessman in Perryton. We own a small oil and gas company. I'm on the school board and have been on the school board for 11 years. In Perryton, Judy and I have had 3 kids graduate from public education, 2 valedictorians and 1 National Merit Scholar. We know exactly what the value of a good public education is. I'm the chairman of the board for Panhandle Producers and Royalty Owners Association, it's a mouthful, and that is the organization here in Amarillo that is your primary liaison to a lot of the energy issues downstate. In that role, I'm down in Austin quite often dealing with a lot of regulatory burdens put upon business that is getting to be very onerous for our prosperity and for our health of our energy industry in this state and in the nation. Also on the appraisal board. I'm also have been on the Chamber of Commerce. I've got a lot of different activities that I have done. You may not know Richard Beyea, but you know me. I've been the person standing next to you on the sidelines coaching soccer, coaching baseball, and I thank you for that.
Thank you, sir. I did forget to mention one thing about him. He is also the chair of the Panhandle Producers and Royalty Owners Association. All right, now we're going to move on to Caroline Fairley. Caroline Fairley is currently working in the healthcare industry, specifically healthcare affordability. She has legislative experience in D.C. through working and campaigning for Congressman Ronnie Jackson.
Thank you. First off, thank you everybody for being here tonight. Thank you, Amarillo Pioneer, for hosting this. I'm Caroline Fairley. I was born and raised here in Amarillo in the Texas Panhandle. After college, I went to work on Congressman Ronnie Jackson's campaign and ultimately moved to Washington, D.C. with him. Worked with him there. Eventually moved back to Texas here in Amarillo, where I work in healthcare. I negotiated medical bills and then led a team that focused on healthcare costs. To keep it simple and short, I'm a very conservative person. I believe that values are important. Really, I believe that faith and biblical principles really is what guides the way I think and make decisions, and I believe they're worth defending, fighting. I believe they're the only hope that we have for Texas or really our country. And I would be honored to represent all of you in Austin. Thank you.
Thank you, Caroline. All right, now we have Cindi Bulla. Cindi Bulla, she works in the real estate industry. She owns Realty Central Services, and she's been chair of the Amarillo Association of Realtors, chair of Texas Realtors, and VP of the National Realtors Association.
Thank you. Unlike the term president or senator or governor, the term representative is more descriptive than it is a title. And that's because our system recognizes that a representative is the closest person to the people of the district they represent. You've got push cards that will tell you that I'm a lifelong conservative woman. Those same push cards will tell you that I have decades of experience crafting conservative legislation. and conservative policy at the national, state, and local level. They'll tell you that I'm a business owner and a mother and a teacher and a speaker. But what they won't tell you is the important difference in this race. I am a passionate ambassador for our Amarillo and the Texas Panhandle. I have been working with you and for you for decades. This ask of you to give me the opportunity to be a representative is just an extension of that same work.
Thank you, Cindi. All right, now prepare yourself, everybody. This first question is a doozy. Cindi, you can have the first question.
Thanks for the
Everybody
doozy.
just prepare yourself, okay? This is an audience question. What is your favorite color? That's a tough one.
It is a tough one. Well, it's got to be red, right? Red.
Caroline?
Blue.
Blue?
It is red.
Okay, all right. Thank y'all, that's tough, I know. All right, now, the rest of them, they really are serious. They're pretty tough, so, we want to make sure that you guys have plenty of time, that you answer these fairly. But we're going to do 1 minute for the group questions, okay? So, the second question, in what way does your individual life experience prepare you for this position? And we'll start with you, Caroline.
So, I believe I'm uniquely qualified for this position. I worked in Washington, D.C. with Congressman Ronnie Jackson. I saw firsthand the dysfunction in D.C. And really, I learned what it looks like to be a strong leader, to stand strong, to defend values and principles no matter the cost. And really what I learned in D.C., I'm not naive to politics. I'm not naive to how that world works. The other part of this is my work in healthcare. I negotiate medical bills. I led a team that focused on cutting healthcare costs. And so really a lot of times what that means is, we build relationships with sophisticated hospital systems and insurance companies and figure out how to get deals done. And in those negotiations or building relationships, sometimes there's a 12-year-old kid with cancer on the line, and I cannot fail. I have to get the deal done. And all of those tools of learning how to build relationships, how to communicate well, how to negotiate are going to be very effective in Austin. At the end of the day, if you can't build relationships with people, and let's not be naive, no one here is going to walk in to Austin and have all the relationships. No one's going to replace Fort Price's relationships that you've built in the last 14 years. But if you can't walk into Austin and know how to communicate, build relationships with people across the aisle, and negotiate and convince people why your bill should be the one to be voted on, you're not going to be very effective. And thankfully, I've learned so much from Congressman Ronnie Jackson on this, and also have started building relationships with other state representatives who've called me and said, hey, Caroline, we want to work with you. What do we need to do to help you? And so, thank you so much.
Thank you. Yes, sir. You mean to ask it again? Okay. In what way does your individual life experience prepare you for this position?
Well, you heard a bunch of my resume there too. Caroline told me here about a month ago that I thought I'd made every mistake I'd ever offered in life, but Caroline told me I made one more, which was I came back from vacation too quick. I think she meant it nice. You heard the resume, guys. You have to learn by doing, and there's lots and lots of hard choices. None of this comes easy. We know this. We've got a lot of hard choices ahead of us as a Republican Party. Were we born for such a time as this? I think I am prepared for it because I'm a businessman. I'm not a politician. I don't see a reason to probably go get reelected. Okay? I think I'm just have taken every role in my life as a point of service. One of the things that bothers me in Austin, when I go down there, I don't see a lot of people that remember their public servants. We really will need the word servant back in those jobs. We are letting government get too big. We're letting government get far too intrusive on all levels. I intend to change that.
Thank you, Richard. Cindi, same question.
Thank you. My life has been a series of fits and starts. I ran away from home when I was 15 years old. and my life could have gone so wrong. And the landing place that I had here as a young single mother with 2 children was in Potter County, Texas. It was right here. And I'm a product of the public schools and the help and the support and the love and the goodness of this area. And there is nobody better positioned to go up and make that argument from that back freshman podium on the House floor about how important our issues are and how our conservative values are so integral to the success of our entire state. That's economic success, it's social success, it's the success of the entire country. Nobody can make that better than I can.
Thank you. Cindi, you keep the mic. Now I'll ask you this question. What steps will you take to protect oil and gas jobs in Texas despite the push in Washington to eliminate fossil fuels?
Well, the first thing we all need to do is make sure that the administration changes in Washington in November. That's what we have to do first. Number one, we have to protect our energy resources, and that has to include fossil fuels. We have got to stop this war on fossil fuels. We have got to stop the panic over, we are all smart enough to understand science when we understand science. But this climate change agenda has become just that. We're not talking about science anymore. We're talking about agendas. So we've got to get laser focused on truths and an all-of-the-above approach on energy. And there is no time that I can foresee in my personal lifetime that we are going to distance ourselves or eliminate fossil fuels. We are doing an amazing job in the fossil fuel industry already in making them cleaner and better. And the United States of America has led that charge, and the state of Texas has led that charge. And it is nothing more than a political game that's being played right now and an assault on that. We have to keep a Republican administration in at the national level. We have to keep Texas red, and we have to be laser focused on that.
Thank you. Cameron?
As West Texans, we prioritize oil and gas, and we would all agree here that it's so important here in the Panhandle and here in this area. And I can tell you, this question is very simple to answer. I will oppose any efforts that the liberals or Democrats or far left wing try to do to shut down our oil and gas and stop the use of fossil fuels. Under President Trump, we were pretty much energy independent, and we have got to get back to that. The other part of this is this phony green climate change is another agenda from the left. Is really trying to essentially get the government to come in and dictate and tell us how we should live, how we should do our jobs, and we have got to stop that and stop the left from getting in that. And so I can tell you, it's just very simple. We've got to protect our oil and gas industry and fossil fuels, and I will be sure to be a voice for that in Austin, because these West Texas Panhandle values, they're worth fighting, and we got to get people to realize how valuable we are here and what we provide to the rest of Texas.
Thank you, Caroline. All right, Richard, you got it. What is your position on the efforts to declare Amarillo a sanctuary city for the unborn?
Well, I'm in Perryton, but I would support that if I lived in Amarillo. I think there's no room. We've made choices on how we're going to protect life. We've made a bunch of very bad choices. Roe v. Wade was always bad law and should have never been in the federal jurisdiction. The problem is we have so many reinterpretations of the Constitution. The Constitution is fairly simple to read, simple in purpose, and pretty resolute. You know, what we have is continual overreaches from the federal government reaching into all our lives. But the protection of the unborn has got to be our number one priority. What does it say to us as a people if we're participating in things that are just ghoulish? What does it say about us as people? When we look at the New York State legislature, that when they passed the partial birth abortion bill, the legislators stood up and cheered. I'm not sure I have anything in common with the people on the coast right now. But we need to draw our own lines. God's drawing lines here, guys. And we need to be Texas, not something that keeps getting forced on us by the national media.
Caroline, do you want me to repeat it? Okay.
So first off, with this specific question, I have a few questions about it, and I'm still looking into that. I'll be honest with you guys, I campaign 8 hours a week, and so I'm still looking into how that would affect. But let me be clear, I am 100% pro-life. I was endorsed by Texas Right to Life, and I've done a lot of work with Hope Choice Pregnancy Center here in Amarillo. I have a lot of personal stories with different women who wanted abortions and didn't get them, and so protecting the unborn is the most important thing that we have to focus on. But the main point I want to make here is, you know, I see a lot of well-intended pro-life folks disagree with other well-intended pro-life folks. And I see that in Amarillo, and the point I want to make is, folks, like, we have got to be united on this issue. We have to be united and remember that we all are fighting for the unborn, and we all believe that life begins at conception. Roe v. Wade is 50 years. I mean, it took us 50 years. And we did that by uniting as a conservative party and advocating for the unborn and making sure that that was the top priority. And we have gone way too far to go back. And so what I'm focused on is how do we unite together as Amarillo, remember what we all believe in, and make sure that this doesn't become a dividing topic, but that we all come together to remember what we all believe in, and that we believe that life begins at conception.
Thank you, Caroline.
Thank you. I believe that our city council is populated by 5 people that we can trust that are all pro-life people, and they are working hard to find the right resolution. I will join them, and I join all of you in protecting and preserving life. Everything that we can do at the local or state level to save lives needs to be done. That said, we have to understand that we have strong state legislation in place, and the debate right now is not among pro-life and pro-choice. It's among good neighbors that we elected that are listening to their constituents, in this case the city of Amarillo, and trying to make a good judgment. And if what they're doing would save a life, I know that all 4 of them would jump in there. What they're doing right now is methodical and meticulous, and we should be proud of them. It's all about saving lives, and I support that.
Thank you. Can you keep the mic? All right. Now this question, when considering proposed changes to the state's penal code, are there any offenses for which you believe the legislature should reduce rather than strengthen penalties? Please explain.
Nothing comes to mind that I would reduce the penalties for. Crime is out of control. Every level of crime is out of control. What I would do is do more preventative work. I would make sure as a legislator for you that we do more preemptive things and that we do those on a micro level. We are missing opportunities with our young children. We are missing opportunities to socialize our young children into understanding social constructs and working within those social constructs. High school level, this is where we lose them, folks. This is where we lose them. Our public schools are doing a great job in District 87. I've been out there, I've seen them, I've seen their work. They're intervening with some of these kids that are problem kids. So if we get really laser focused on prevention, maybe we can stop that. But no, until we start cracking down on every level of crime and every crime, regardless of whether we think it's a high level or a low level crime, there are appropriate penalties in place and they need to be enforced. And if we enforce them more often, I think we would have less criminals on the street.
Thank you. Caroline?
Would you repeat that one more time?
Yes, ma'am. When considering proposed changes to the state's penal code, are there any offenses for which you believe the legislature should reduce rather than strengthen penalties?
So the answer is no, I wouldn't change anything either. I believe that we have got to make sure that we don't have crime. We could look at the border, the amount of illegal immigrants coming over, the amount of crime that's coming into our country and really at the state of Texas. We've got to make sure that we crack down on that. We've got to make sure that when it comes to crime, that we are putting the correct enforcements and correct punishments with regard to whatever that is, from the local level, state level, federal level. So we've got to make sure that what we're doing is making sure we have good ways to crack down on that. The other thing is that we do want to invest in our future children and the next generation to not be following those habits. We've got to have programs that help those kids. I spent a lot of time with the sheriffs here in Amarillo and looking at the jails to say, hey, what are the programs we can do to help these kids or families or parents not go back into the way they were doing or be a cyclical thing that happens. And so we've got to make sure we look into programs that will help those kids or families to reduce that.
Thank you. Richard?
Yeah, reducing is not really my language on any of this stuff. Let me give you an example. I'm on the school board in Perryton. We have been infiltrated so much by liberal groupthink, and I'm saying that nice, that we had to have a definition into our school board here a few weeks ago of what actually constitutes torture. There were some incidences that came up, and I couldn't believe it and I don't usually react real well to this stuff. But quite honestly, if they have to explain to me what the word torture means after we know what the incident was, something is decidedly wrong. And it's infiltrated all of our big cities, and it's infiltrated. Guys, look at our country. The whole thing seems upside down sometimes. Good behaviors are punished, bad behaviors are rewarded. So no, I can't see a single incident where we're reducing isn't good at all.
Thank you, Richard. All right. So let's get like 30 seconds on this one. It's kind of a yes or no. Just give a brief answer. Texas is one of 12 states without a statewide smoking ban for public places, including workplaces and restaurants. Should Texas consider passing a statewide smoking ban? Richard?
I'm big on local control. Thomas Jefferson told us that government governs best, which governs least. These decisions, just like my school rolls, everything we do works better locally. So, no from the state.
Thank you. Ms. Fairley?
Ronald Reagan's 9 most famous words, hi, I'm from the government, I'm here to help you. We got to make sure that, again, we don't need the government to come in and put regulations in. The answer is no for me. Those decisions can be made locally on what they think is best for their communities and their districts.
Thank you.
It's a hard no from me.
Awesome. Thank you all. All right, this is the last group question. This is a doozy. What's your favorite shape? I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. All right, so that was our last group question. We are going to move on to the individual questions. And then y'all have 3 minutes for this, and then we'll do our closing statement. Y'all got 1 minute, okay? Cindi, since you have the mic already. A recent text was sent out from Texans for Fiscal Responsibility alleging that you have donated to Democrats. Can you please respond to these allegations and clarify whether you have personally donated to Democrats or donated to Democrats through your work with Texas Realtors?
Yes, I was hoping I'd get to answer this. Thank you. So I'm as part of my leadership journey with Texas Realtors and the National Association of Realtors, I'm part of a program called President's Circle. And in that President's Circle program, we pledge to do $500 4 times a year to national candidates that are designated as private property rights champions. So I've been in that for about 12 years and given a little over $50,000 to various causes through there, not just the PAC itself, the Realtors PAC itself, and to individual candidates 4 times a year, $500. In all of those years, and you can look this up, every single one of them except one was to a Republican. One was to a Fort Worth-based Democrat. Last name is VC. I don't remember the first name. I think he may still be there. And let me tell you why I did that. I was part of a group of issues mobilization people and on the Texas Realtors leadership team when the Trump administration was trying to pass tax reform. And as part of that initial tax reform package, the GOP was trying to eliminate the 1031 tax exchange. Now, not all of you may know what that is, but if you're a farmer or a rancher or an owner of real property assets, you know what that is and you know how important it is. They were also trying to eliminate the state and local tax deduction. I was part of a very core group that was in the room in the final negotiations of that had the opportunity to keep both of those two opportunities, which are so critical to Texas and especially to the Texas Panhandle. One of the Democrats who helped us was a Texas-based Democrat. He was a congressman named Mark Vesey. He was in a safe seat. He was going to be reelected, but as a show of appreciation for that person helping us get keep that in there as part of our Texas delegation, I and a number of other conservative Republican people sent a $500 donation through that President's Circle. Every other donation I've made in my lifetime has been either to a local candidate that was undeclared, I don't know, some of them may have been Democrats, but every other one was to a Republican except that one, and that was to get a very Republican piece of legislation passed.
Thank you, Cindi. We appreciate that. All right, Miss Fairley. According to the Hansford Informer, your father, Alex Fairley, has donated millions of dollars to local and federal candidates and organizations over the past few years. Some have alleged that this shows that your father is attempting to buy you a seat in the Texas House. How do you respond to these allegations?
Thank you. So, a few things. It's kind of two separate topics, my father Alex and then some of these endorsements. So first off, people have asked me this about, hey, these endorsements you have, what's going on with them, and really the reality is that I'm very proud to have all of them. I mean, I have them from Senator Ted Cruz, Ronnie Jackson, Senator Kevin Sparks. I have it from the local Amarillo Police Department, Fire Department, local Mayor Cole Stanley. I have local mayors in Stratford and Dumas who've endorsed me. And really this question's not for me. This question is for them. And what I really think is, are we challenging the integrity of Ted Cruz and Ronnie Jackson and Cole Stanley and these mayors? And really the question is to them and to ask them why. And really the other part of this is my dad. I'm very proud of him. I'm really proud of what he's done in Amarillo. I mean, he took a stand on principle when others didn't. And he had a voice for people here in Amarillo who didn't have a voice. And ultimately what he did was very inspiring, and the reality is most people love him. Like I've now knocked on 500 plus doors, and most of the time I knock on a door, someone says, are you, Alex and Cheryl Fairley, are they your parents? And 99% of the time people say, oh my goodness, I love what he did. I love what he did for Amarillo. I love what he did for us. He saved the city. Even Democrats sometimes have told me, man, I love your dad. But the thing is that my dad's not running for House of Representatives. I'm running for House of Representatives. I'm the one who has traveled 4,000 miles outside of Amarillo, Texas. I'm the one who's knocked on 500 plus doors. I'm the one who has gotten these local endorsements from Cole Stanley in these small towns. I'm the one who was interrogated with questions for 40 minutes from Senator Ted Cruz, which I will tell you was very intimidating. And he asked me, he said, Caroline, last question, he said, what do you want to be remembered as in Austin? And I said, Senator Cruz, I said, I want to be remembered as someone who was willing to not sell out to the Austin people and the lobbyists and the way of life, and to stand on principles and values. And the other part of this is, you guys, a lot of you here in this room, I've met with, we've had coffee, we've had meetings, and you know my heart. You know I'm running. You know I care about conservative values. You know I believe in the West Texas Panhandle way of living. You know that I care about listening to your concerns and questions. You know that I genuinely care about the people here in the Panhandle, and I care about being a voice in Austin. And at the end of the day, I am the one who will represent you in Austin. And I would be so honored to be able to do that, because we have to make sure that we get people in Austin who will be an advocate for these conservative values that we all believe in. Thank you.
Okay, Richard, this one's for you. In 2023, the Perryton School Board placed the largest bond election in the district's history on the ballot. Despite your position as a board member, you did not attend the meeting in which the district called the election. Did you support calling this bond election? And if so, how do you reconcile this position with the need for further tax relief in Austin?
Let me chew on that one for a second. Yes, I supported the bond election. I was just out of town at the time. We all have facility needs in our school districts. The idea that we can continue to ignore some of those are not realistic. But debt is not the way to prosperity. And the people that talked a little bit earlier, a couple of you said that we've continued to increase debt loads. We're in debt loads on a school level, debt loads on our state level, debt loads on the property owner. All this stuff comes from the taxpayer, right? What I noticed, we had a big boom in oil and gas prices. We had a huge surplus last year. We had a party in Austin, okay? I'm in a small school district, and when we have those big commodity cycles come through, we have to deal with big swings in our revenue base. We go from surpluses in the school to starting to riff people, looking at laying people off in our school system is a terrible way to do things. We need tax relief. And guys, quite honestly, every time you've got a proposition this year talking about removing all the property taxes. Isn't that wonderful? But the problem is you have to pay for something. There's a second part of that question is not asked. What do I replace it with? We don't get off easy, guys. But the biggest problem, whether it's at the federal level, at the local level, at our state level, is deficit spending. Well, not deficit, we're required to have a balanced budget, but we are following debt patterns that are more like California was 20 years ago than what Texas is. We need to get control on this spending. Every time I hear a conversation about which taxes do we need next, the first thing that should be done is where can we cut spending? Government's too big.
Okay, we're almost to the end. Real quick, just give us a real quick answer. Who is your favorite Supreme Court justice and current justice? Cannot be a former.
Antonin Scalia for the last one, but yeah, I think I admire Clarence Thomas with the way he's been attacked and the way he's continued to persevere. And we've got Samuel Alito. I mean, you've got some really good justices, and I won't mention the ones that have been disappointing.
Caroline?
I have to agree with Richard Scalia. Yes.
Thank you. Cindy?
So it would be hard not to go with that. Yes, I absolutely agree.
Okay, great. Thank you all. Okay, so now y'all have your closing statement. If you'll give it to Richard, we'll start. We'll end this with the ballot order, and you'll have 1 minute.
I'll have to say in 1 minute, you didn't give me my chance to answer my energy questions. I'm right in the middle of that. You guys know the energy industry of here, Save the Whales, right? I usually use that in group. My group talks to the industry people. Guys, we've got a lot of work cut out for us here. We can look at the national level, look what a disaster that thing is. But President Trump talks about the swamp in Washington. The swamps, I will guarantee the swamps with us in Austin too. I can give you multiple examples. But guys, what's important here, we can't focus on, let's get rid of Joe Biden and our problems are over. It is up and down the ladder. It is, I will tell you, on the school board, I still think the most important election we have in the country is on our local school boards. And if you don't believe me, get into some of those conversations with some of the school district trustees downstate. Some of the stuff we see going on in California and Virginia is going on around some of the rural districts in Austin. You have to send somebody to Austin that is going to be able to advocate for tough choices. We had, I got 1 minute, right? Life is not easy. We're going to be challenged. And I pray that we as a party have got to unify, and that we have been born for times such as these, that we can put this nation and this state back on the right path. Thank you.
Ms. Graney?
First off, thank you, Amarillo Pioneer, you guys for putting this on. I'm so glad that we have these. I feel like now we're jumping from forum to forum to forum, so it's really fun. And really, I'd be honored to be your voice in Austin. I'd be honored to have your vote and represent you. With the 30 seconds I have left, I personally would love to all invite you to join the governor and I tomorrow at Tyler's Barbecue. He is coming to Amarillo, and I'm so excited that he's making a stop here, campaign stop. It'll be at 10 a.m. tomorrow at Tyler's Barbecue, and doors open at 9:30, but I would love to see all of you there. I think it'll be a good morning. You won't really hear me talk, it'll be primarily him, so it'll be good, but thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Bulla?
Thank you. I'm going to go back to what I started with, and that's representative. Potter County, Carson County, all of the 8 counties of the 87th district are very different, even than the 86th district. The challenges in North Amarillo are very different than the challenges in South Amarillo. The opportunities are different. I am a Potter County resident since 1999. I have been there. I have been working in the different areas of Potter County that are most at risk. I have been up in the Panhandle. I have stood there as a bus full of high school students left to go play in what seemed like the most important football game of all time at 7 o'clock in the morning as they drove out and the whole city closed in order to come and say goodbye to those kids and wish them well. I know what public schools mean to our neighborhoods in Potter County and to our Panhandle residents. I know that they are not just the schools, they are the whole cities themselves. I know how important they are to the economy and the success of Texas. I can talk the business lingo, I've been there. I can be the representative for the 8 counties of District 87, and I'm asking for your vote, Cindi Bulla, on March the 5th.
Great. Thank you, everybody. Please give it up for them. Make sure that you ask them questions, grill them. Make sure that you want to pick the right person to be your elected official. Thank you all. All right, that's it, everybody. I'm going to bring Thomas Warren up here. Y'all please give it up for Thomas.
All right, thank you all for being here. We're dismissed. You don't have to go home, but you can't stay here. Thank you.